Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. With a new look for the title screen, we're back at Hammond Manor for more Password. Right now we've made it up to day 20. Now we're going to see what's happening on Dean's route. I have nothing else to say. Let's get to the story. My head hurt. I couldn't tell how or why it was hurting, but it was. All while I slept. It was cold, wet, with something fluffy wrapped over my shoulders. High above, the sun was warm, bright, in a cloudless sky. The sounds of splashing coming from nearby. What's going on? Dean's telltale chuckle from behind me, followed by his arms around my middle, explained the softness I was leaning against. We're finally awake. Where are we? Hey everyone, he's awake. Huh? Awake? Well, you had us worried. I knew letting you jump in like that was a bad idea. What's going on? I didn't understand. I was confused as to where we were, why we were here, but what I did know that my head was hurting bad. Oh, Dave? Then it was all gone in an instant. I was floating again in the darkness, and eventually something else surfaced. You can't stack those, it's bullshit. Are you sure? Dude, calm down. It's not even you drawing the cards, it's Dave. Huh? I could feel my heart rate rising quickly, the confusion only getting worse. These were just dreams, right? They felt different somehow. The feeling in my head no better either. Then it was gone. Everything came back into focus and I was right where I went to bed the night before. No headache, heart still racing, but things felt real again. My eyes adjusted to the massive brown fur that I was using as a pillow, and I remembered where I was. Dean seemed to still be asleep as I cuddled against his chest. A thought that was reinforced immediately from how loudly he snored and seemingly woke himself up with. His arm flexed, face scrunched up into a grimace before his eyes slowly opened. Huh? Good morning, Dean. He looked down to me, still in a daze before I realised what was happening. Oh, good morning. Well, did you sleep well? I slept, yeah. Not well. Did something happen? No, just some strange dreams, that's all. He yawned wide and unrestrained, his arm around me rubbing my shoulder and back. Strange bad? Just confusing. I'll figure out what they mean later. Sitting up, I rubbed my eyes and looked about Dean's room. The few plaid shirts littering the floor made me smile as he sat up to join me, hand on my waist. I'm sure you don't want to talk about them. I guess it's more not knowing how to start talking about them. Like, have you ever had dreams that were so real you swore you were awake? Oh yeah, I've heard of those, lucid dreams. So it was kind of like that, just about the vacation maybe? It just felt so real. Dean leaned over and kissed me sweetly on the cheek, rolling over to check his phone. Anything bad? Not really, just strange is all. Well, how are you feeling? Did you want to sleep in some more or get up? Could go either way given the time. I doubt everyone's going to be up at this point. Placing a hand on his chest, I found my hand trailing his front, contemplating the options. Or if not sleep, we could stay in bed and do other things. I could feel his hands on me again, just touching where everything was kept above the belt. I think I'm still tender from last night. It was great, but I might need to recover. Well, that's what you get for being too eager. I did say we could just go slow. Yeah, well, I was excited. He hugged me close and I hugged him back as he rested his chin atop my head. Oh, once you're walking right, you let me know, we can go again. No rush, we've got all the time in the world. If I'm being honest, part of me was worried that I couldn't keep up. Oh, our situation's not helping much either. Don't really have the freedom to fully experiment until we're back home. All that stuff is just nice. It's not the be-all and end-all of a relationship, including ours. Okay, yeah. So, what's it going to be? Sleep or get up? I've had enough sleep. What I could really go for is a cup of coffee and some breakfast. Well, come on then. We threw on some clothes and made our way down, Dean leading the way with a happy stride in his step. I followed close behind as we descended the stairs, feeling lighter and legitimately happier as we made our way into the dining room. It didn't take long for everyone to arrive. He'd just taken a seat at the table with Orlando heading to the kitchen once everyone was accounted for. At some point, coffee was put in front of me and I downed it quickly. Almost burning my throat, but it did wonders in waking me up. I looked across to who I spent the night with and flashed him a smile, and he flashed me one back. It was accompanied with a slow wink as he brought a piece of toast slathered with honey up to his mouth, and chuckles I almost missed my mouth with the next sip of coffee. Oswin wandered in with Benson at some point, not saying anything to us, and continued on to the kitchen looking just as tired as I felt. Hey, everyone? The table went quiet when I spoke. Wasn't expecting it to happen so quickly, but I stood up, cradling my coffee cup in both hands. I just wanted to say that, it wasn't a good way to start this conversation, but I at least waited until people had eaten something. I'd eaten already, and having something in my stomach made me feel less anxious, but the weight of what I wanted to talk about was still there. No, never mind. I sat back down sheepishly, looking down into my coffee. For a few moments of looking back at my face in the black liquid, I frowned and stood back up again. No, I have something to say. Dude, just say it already. I'm getting to it. I breathed in deep and looked at each of my friends in turn, setting down my mug. I'm sorry to bring this up over breakfast, but 2 days ago I got the vault to work again. There was nothing but silence to greet my declaration. My eyes went to the table, uncertain of how to proceed, but I figured not saying anything was worse than just trying. 2 days ago, I was told there was a password, so I spent the day trying to solve it. Everyone seemed to look at one another confused, but still didn't say anything. I rubbed my head, unsure of how to explain this without sounding crazy. Werewolf. The password was werewolf. All I saw was Orlando dead and Tyson covered in blood. There was a thing in Tyson's room that was going to set him off, making a high-pitched sound or whatever. The tension at the table increased, and I looked around again to see if anyone wanted to speak aside from me. For the most part, it seemed as though some people weren't convinced I was serious, and others just didn't know what to say. So, the thing is, I didn't say anything because I wanted to try and fix it myself, but also because I didn't want the person behind it knowing. You know, in case they tried to mix it up on us. Dave, I think you could have phrased that better. A lot of it, really. I frowned, worried that my explanation wasn't clear enough, but it seemed clear that Roswell was willing to ask anyway. For the clarity of the table, are you implying that it was someone here that set that up? Well, no, but maybe? I mean, it's possible, right? Dave, just spit it out. We need the rest, yeah? Dave? Yeah? How'd you know it's one of us? I snatched up my coffee again and downed it for confidence, then openly declared what I knew to the table. So, someone's been controlling the robotic rat, and that rat was setting off a loud noise underneath Ty's bed, and that was making him go crazy, and he's going to break last night. But I found the rat and talked to him, and we figured it all out. The silence stretched out longer than I would have liked. With how talkative people were before I started talking, I started to chuckle with my nerves getting the best of me. Rat? Eyes were on Dean as he stood up slowly, nodding at me. A rat? You mean the one we found in the kitchen? Thanatos. Ah, the god of death. No, the rat, the one that Dave was with in the kitchen. Wait, is that his name? Who would name a rat after something like that?
Well, it's not a rat, is it? Dave just said it was robotic.
I nodded quickly. Yeah, he speaks into a collar around his neck. He's, I wouldn't say nice, but, you know.
No?
I mean, he's kind of a jerk.
That's putting it lightly.
Everyone's attention went over the door leading to the kitchen where Oswald was standing, coffee in hand.
Thanatos is a little gremlin, if I'm being honest.
He made his way over the table and stopped next to me before drinking from his mug and giving me a look. He's not too bad, but he's not exactly helpful.
You're not going to tell them the important parts?
Oh, right. He's, also the vault? Confused looks were shared around the table again with Oswin sighing.
Well, it'd be easier for me to go get him.
It might be better to hear it from his mouth. I already feel like I'm crazy.
Oh, not a problem. The secret's out now anyway. Oi, I'm already here.
Everyone had heard it. They were looking about the room for where the unfamiliar voice had come from, but I caught him scrambling up onto the table closest to the kitchen. He stood plainly in the middle of the table for everyone to see. Orlando seemed uncomfortable seeing the rat again. Everyone else was a mix between confused and intrigued. Hey, Thanatos.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I was, He shook his head and looked around at everyone at the table.
Well, go on. I'm sure you'll have questions out the junior here opened his mouth.
So, the other day in the kitchen.
Yeah, real classy putting me in the metal thing. Didn't have the decency to ask.
And at the table for breakfast, you could have said something.
Just getting a read on you, wasn't I? Didn't even get a chance to get a word out before you started touching me all over.
Orlando shot Dean a sour look and then turned back to Thanatos, drumming his fingers on the table. We're not all hallucinating, right? You're actually talking and you're just a robot?
Just a robot, it's underselling it.
He's the vault, the AI behind it or something? I don't know why he's a rat though.
I'll have you know I'm a rat because I need to be one.
Looked over to Oswald. He just raised his eyebrows mid-gulp of his coffee, seeing a mix between amused and intrigued by the answer.
Well, I'm sorry I was so rough the other day. Not every day you meet a rat that behaves like you do.
Nah, you're alright. You do good with your hands like a certain someone. I want you to check.
Why is it you're looking at me when you say that?
I only got that thing working Benny boy wants you to fix, eh? Why, just give it to me. I can get a car working. Can't be too hard. You can do robotics? Find all the electronic stuff? No. And that's why, innit? Pylon Dean said he had history. That's why I went to him.
Excuse me, Mr. Rat?
Eh, what?
Sorry, do you rather just Thanatos?
Oh, no, something more befitting a divine name.
Listen, you stop that. Thanatos is fine.
All right, Thanatos, I had a question.
What?
What did you mean by a file?
Oh, easy enough to answer. Got a file on each of you. Just had to go look at them.
Files? What sort of files?
A combination of my own notes and publicly available records.
The table briefly looked to Oswin for confirmation. He seemed more interested in filling up his mug with more coffee.
How detailed are they?
The question seemed to give Thanatos pause, regarding Roswell carefully before giving his answer.
Oh, very. Chances are I know things about you that you're keeping secret from one another.
Like what? Hold on. I think it's not worth delving into that. We have no way to verify he's telling the truth anyway.
Oh, so?
Well, I think a better line of question would be, what does it mean that he's the vault? That might inadvertently answer the question if he can be trusted. Oh, he's very hit and miss as far as trusting him, I think. Or it makes it hard to trust him anyway.
Oh, real nice, Junior. But as for being the vault, what's not to get? I'm the back-end system of it.
Sorry, I still don't quite understand.
Well, if he's to sit on the vault, then it begs the question as to what the vault does and can do, right? Well, as far as we know, it does the whole vision thing, right? Well, remember, we had this explained to us some days ago when we learned about who's in the woods. Morphic resonance and trauma go hand in hand to trigger past memories. Real past memories. Oswin grunted and I caught him side-eyeing Roswell, but kept quiet beyond that. So, Thanatos can make us remember stuff? Sort of. Well, if he's telling the truth, yes. Everything Dave has seen so far will just be a past memory for him.
Can't you see how fucked that is? How do you expect us to believe that anyway?
How else would you explain it, Ty? Those things never happened. They're so clear, so real. I just don't know what else they could be.
Well, fucking drugged up hallucination bullshit, maybe? Nah, mate. Don't need drugs to do what I do. Just a good high-pitched noise will do just fine. Noise?
Ty started to growl, jumped up and hunching over the table. He stumbled over his words, trying to figure out how to phrase what he wanted to. I could tell from his eyes bulging that he put it together. Yeah, Thanatos was under Ty's bed. Ty made a grab for Thanatos. The game was just short the moment the rat took a step backwards. I have a question. For who? An open question, I suppose. Do we know who's puppeteering him right now?
Isn't he a robot?
Well, yes, that's what he said. We haven't seen Benson in a while.
No strings on me, that's for sure.
He does what he wants, Roswell. Are you sure? He doesn't take orders from anyone? Before anyone could get the words out, Oswald was now standing.
In theory, that person should be me. Well, alas, that's not the case. What are you talking about, Master?
I could see the smile on his face, the way he stressed that last word that made me wonder specifically what he was playing at. When who?
Y'all don't need to know that.
Well, why does that leave us then?
Dean, you really don't get it?
It's hard to process, but the implication, to me at least, is clear. Well, don't leave me in the dark. The implication is that it's one of us, isn't it?
A lump in the back of my throat kept me quiet. I could see looks being shot around the table. The prospect seemed to cause everyone to second-guess the truth of what Salah suggested. The silence was making it worse.
Well, it's not me.
If he didn't sound so genuine, I'd be second-guessing that based on how he showed up to talk to you when no one else was around.
It's a little suspicious. But I don't think Dean's smart enough to play a long game such as this without anyone knowing. It also meant that he'd have brought Thanatos with him on the bus. See, it can't be me.
Well, it's not me either. If I can't put together a broken ECM, I can hardly put together a robot, let alone a full AI to run it.
Well, it's not me either. Honestly, thinking about it logically, it can't be any of us, can it?
I'm relieved, but why? I'd have to guess it's because he's the vault, right? It's not just making a robot an AI, but then to make the vault itself really only means that you need a level of knowledge on this sort of stuff with the ability to construct it, right?
Well, it rolls me out. I have to cash and bake how all this works. Oh, Dave can back me up on that.
I only understand this from video games, honest.
Your folks in the mob, you got the money.
I appreciate you can put that together. I'd rather spend my money elsewhere, thanks. Oh, he's got a point. Imagine if Orlando Free had that much money, do something to stop demons and ghosts from threatening to torment him. Much help that'll do him. What about you, Roswell? Me, I don't mind the ghosts and demons.
He means the master of this rat bullshit, smartass.
Oh no, can't be me, can it? Oh, why not? Well, I admit to have the smarts potentially, but resources? No. Isn't your dad a lawyer, though? They make some money. Find that logic, we point at you as a suspect given your mother. So, what I'm getting at is that all of us are in the clear? No one could have done it? There's an air of hopefulness in his voice, and he stood up, leaving one less person in their chair. That's good, right? The rat's lying, and then... Orlando's smile faded the moment the snickering happened. Thanatos shaken with laughter as he remained in his spot on the table.
Oh, well done, very well done.
He rubbed his hands together quickly before looking at each of us, all the while snickering to himself.
You convinced yourselves that none of you is a traitor?
No one has the means or the opportunity, right?
You should know better than anyone, David Holloway Jr.
I finally sat back down, worried about what he's going to say next. It was a primal instinct to react in some amount of fear when your full name was called.
What am I?
The vault.
How long have I been alive for?
I don't know.
This time around, at least 10 years, I think.
This time around... Oh.
So I'll ask you again, how long have I been alive?
How many iterations of the universe have we gone through?
That is something I haven't been keeping track of. Too many.
Then, is your master alive?
Oh, very good, Dave. Asking the right questions. The answer to that is complicated.
Seems pretty easy to answer, given being alive or dead is just one or the other. You can't be both. I guess unless you're a zombie.
Zombies aren't real, are they? That depends. On what?
Well, I guess you get resuscitated after you die, then that makes you a zombie, sort of, right? That's not how that works, though. I think you can give CPR to someone whose brain has stopped. At least I think that's what I remember Mom saying.
Oh, thank God. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, not you. Not once, not now, not ever. Oh, Killjoy.
So, to summarise, we're left with an unknown master controlling Thanatos, who was instructed to torment Tyson, right? That about sums it up. Which leaves us a list of suspects spanning those in this mansion, and what I got from Thanatos' implication, spanning multiple iterations of the universe. Right. So I have a question of the god of death in the room.
Yes?
What was the last time you communicated with your master? He seemed to regard the question carefully, either weighing something up or trying to figure out if he's able to answer.
Today.
Wait, what?
Any other questions?
When today? Did they ask you anything? Again, he seemed to consider the question before answering.
Recent, and yes. This is getting us nowhere. How do we know we can trust that little shit?
We don't really have much choice, do we? A talking rat robot is already a lot for first thing in the morning, but here we are.
Well, I don't like it. Oh, tough luck. Can't we just ignore him already?
But Ty, without him I wouldn't know when to save you.
He's on almost drove me nuts, Steve. Under my bed, remember?
Well,
he's got a point. I don't need your backup.
I'm wondering about the timing, actually. What timing? Why is he appearing now? Why has this only been told to us now? What's going to happen next?
Easy enough to answer. Junior here caught me in the act. Not say I didn't try having her along a few days ago. A few days ago. When you started having little headaches. I went Junior almost crushed me when I made him pass out in front of you in Orlando.
Tyson made another dive for Thanatos and his fingers scraped against fur, but he wasn't close enough still.
You fucker!
He razzed Tyson, took refuge behind Sal's arms that came down the table to block Tyson from making another attempt. Hey, Thanatos, how much trouble are we in, really?
Interesting question. Why?
Are you evil? Not quite what I'm getting at, but I just don't get why. Well, Sal said it best at the time and just seems strange. How long have you been in contact with the rat, Dave? Oh, that's a good question.
How long have you been at the mansion so far?
Well, 3 weeks, give or take a day or so.
And about 10 days ago we made first contact face to face. A few days ago, when we went on a little adventure and had a chat.
Well, I don't know if this is something I need to ask, but, were you around when Dave went into the woods by himself?
Yeah, why?
Why didn't you stop him? Show him a thing or whatever to make him not go.
See, the thing is, I can't make him go anywhere or show anything unless he's in that room downstairs. It went down leading up to it, so it wasn't an opportunity.
Well, you just told him not to go in there. You'd even met before at that point.
Well, maybe I didn't feel like it.
I starting to see what you meant when you asked if he was evil, Dean. Did you really not feel like it?
Wasn't my call in the end.
And what do you mean?
Well, everything that happened turned out for the best, didn't it? You opened about your old man, everyone started taking you seriously. Look at you now. You should go back and change it if you could.
Immediately the whole table seemed to shift into looking upon Thanatos, and unhappily at that. I don't think so. I don't know I had to get chased in the woods, and I don't like how being outside stresses me out a little, but if that didn't happen, we wouldn't know who's out there. I'd probably still be bottling up what happened to Dad, too.
That's what you said last time, too.
Oh.
Now, what I remember, let me hijack this conversation while we spend the next hour accusing me of things. Roswell had an announcement.
I did? I quoked a brow at Thanatos, confused as to what Roswell had to say, and I looked over to him. He seemed conflicted, but understood what Thanatos was talking about, nodding slowly. All right, well, I guess that's just better brought up now, huh? He took a deep breath and started to fiddle with his fingers. All the while, Thanatos seemed to make himself comfortable, notably away from Tyson. Oh, so I have a confession, a secret I've been hiding from you all. There's no good way of saying it, so I guess I just will. I'm dying. Huh? Dying? My confusion seemed to be the same as everyone else's, but Roswell continued. Well, a long time ago I was diagnosed with something untreatable. For the most part it was benign. It didn't really hinder me at all, is what I'm saying. I was told that it was terminal.
He was too young, too. Real young.
Right, like 4, maybe 5?
I can verify this. I was consulting on if there's anything that could be done after the hospital issued their diagnosis. Regrettably, Roswell has the right of it that it is untreatable.
Everyone seemed to stay quiet as Oswin spoke, his tone level and calm.
It's not easy to tell a child they're going to die, but from speaking with Roswell's mother, they sought out every avenue they could think of.
Well, Mom and Dad were very accommodating with answering what questions I had. I barely remember what I asked, given it was so long ago, so chances are I asked the same thing multiple times over.
That was the advice of the consulting pediatrician. Granted, I'd second that advice.
Well, I think it was the right call. I appreciate knowing what's happening to me, why I got sick at times and whatever.
Now the big news, how long do you have left?
Well, truthfully, I'm on borrowed time. I could make out the month, maybe another one or even a year before it happens. Thanatos shook his head.
Wrong.
What do you mean, wrong?
Remember we've seen the different outcomes this month?
Wait, it's less than a month?
It's variable. I've seen it happen once. No, twice, but both on different days.
You've seen me die of natural causes? That would mean I don't make it home?
Depending on how the next few days play out, you might get home before it happens, you might not.
But that's not long. 10 days or so until the end of our vacation. 10 days until
Roswell dies.
I'm not going to be dramatic. I said it could be sooner than that.
And how is that better?
Because nothing has been decided yet. I thought you'd like the variants.
The reason I'm bringing this up now is because of where we find ourselves. Getting off the mountain or potentially needing to make some hard decisions. I'm getting in early, so we're all on the same page.
What hard decisions specifically?
Roswell breathed in deeper, exhaling through his nose, looking at me briefly, then to Thanatos, then to Sal rather than talking to the group as a whole. In the absolute worst case scenario, if someone needs to die or be left behind, that'll be me. Everyone looked uncomfortable and didn't want to look at Roswell after he'd spoken. Except for me, and after catching my eye, it was clear he'd noticed no one else was looking at him anymore.
Logically, it makes the most sense. If someone needs to be left behind so others can survive or escape or whatever, it makes sense that person should be me. So please, hopefully nothing happens, but if it does...
He trailed off, looking at the others as if pleading for them to acknowledge what he'd asked. I promise. The words were barely out of my mouth when Orlando stood up suddenly and stormed out of the room, followed quickly by Hoss. They looked distraught, and Orlando was most definitely crying. Tyson shot me a look before getting out of his chair and going after Hoss. Roswell shifted in place before settling in his chair with a sigh.
Yeah, it's done. Oh, good.
I might need time before I'm able to promise you anything, Roswell. This is going to take a bit to think through.
Sal left next. He half dragged Dean out of his chair, given he was still wide-eyed and dazed from the news.
Hope you're happy with yourself. I pushed the conversation the way that best benefits me, yes. Didn't really want to get chased around the room by Tyson again.
Roswell, are you alright? No, not really. But that had to be done, right?
That's right.
At least we know now, but where does that get us? What happens now?
I'm even going to take Roswell somewhere so he's not alone. Perhaps this slow game of chess. I'm sure I have some candy somewhere.
But I'm able to hang out with him. Oswin shook his head.
You have plans already from what I've been told. Besides, I think this calls for a doctor's touch.
But you're not a doctor, remember?
Boy, you are absolutely still young enough for me to hurl you through a window. Mind your manners.
Oh, Thanatos, do I die from being hurled out of the window?
No?
Good to know.
I'll leave Thanatos in your care for the time being, Dave.
He pulled Roswell out of his chair and nudged him towards the door to the foyer. We'll have a chat later. Then it was just Thanatos and me staring at one another. So what?
Ready for the next job?
If I'm being honest, not really. I feel like that could have gone better.
It's got worse in the past. That's been one of the more tamer discussions on record.
How much worse could it have gone?
Well, Tyson injures my body to the point of not being functional. That causes some problems.
I'm sorry.
I don't be. I just directed the conversation the way I wanted, so it didn't happen. Getting it real close, though.
He wandered over to me, kicking my hands. I was slumped over my spot at the table.
Come on, we need to go talk to Benson.
Oh, right. I guess there's no break, huh?
What do you need a break for? Get going.
This was the last place I'd seen Benson enter, and sure enough, there he was. Done already? You're waiting for us to finish. At the behest of Oswin, he believed that things might get a bit complicated and figured he'd spare me the need to play the mediator. Oh, it wasn't so bad, really. Thanatos crawled from my shoulder, down my arm close to the counter, started to look around the kitchen, seeming letting me have free rein. It begs the question where Oswin is now, though. You weren't listening in. And now that wouldn't be very polite, would it? Well, Roswell explained his life circumstances. It's all right, Dave. I'm aware of how little time Roswell has with us. Oh, okay. Now, I believe you had something you wished to ask of me. How'd you know? He glanced across at Thanatos, returning his eyes to me. Oswin, along with other contributing factors, raised it as a potential outcome for today. I'm sorry, we can avoid it if you want. No, it's quite all right. Although I do wonder how much you'll get from it. The three of us headed back into the dining room, and I dropped Thanatos back onto the table as I looked around, wondering how best to start. To clarify, you want to see what we can find out from what you saw in the vault regarding my death, yes? Right. Well then, let's see what you remember. It's been a while, but I found my eyes trailing to the floor right where I remembered Benson laying dead. It happened here, right where you're standing, although, well, obviously you're on the ground, dead. It may have the cause of death. A gunshot wound. Where? In the dining room?
In the head, Benny boy.
Oh, right, yeah, on your, right temple? Benson looked around the room, slowly scanning the room with a frown. Would it help if I gave more details? Please. So, there's a gun in your left hand. You can just sprawled out on the ground on your side. There's not really more I can go over because I really only have fragments to go with. Describe the gun to me. Big? Silver? Like a cowboy gun? Yeah. A revolver. Interesting. Why is that interesting? Well, that would be Oswin's gun. I was slated to clean it that night as I'd been putting it off, but with everyone searching the place for a gun, I figured I wouldn't casually do it at the dining room table once everyone had turned in. Why do you need to clean it? A proper gun maintenance is important lest you run the risk of injury when you actually need it. Huh. I guess that's understandable. It'd be why you wash your brushes after you finish painting.
Painting? Really?
Well, I don't kill people who use guns. I don't know these things. It does raise an interesting possibility, however. In what way? Quite simply, why was I holding Oswin's gun? And in my left hand, no less. You were cleaning it, right? I was, but why would I not just use my own? Presumably you didn't have it? A fair assumption, but there are other problems. Notably, if I were to be shot in the head with Oswin's revolver, chances are there'd be a significant part of my head, well, missing. A detail you omitted from your recount. Oh, well, yeah, your head was there. Thanatos, how much of this event do you know?
Why do you want to know?
Fine, remain unhelpful. Thanatos, you wanted me to look into this.
Fine, as Benson's getting at. He wasn't shot with the gun you found him with.
Which leaves us one other gun that I keep loaded. Mine. There aren't any other guns in the house. There are, but kept under lock and key, unloaded, and in my private quarters behind another locked door. Now, that's a lot of locks. That's called a proper weapon storage. Where are the keys? You have them, right? They are safe, yes. Okay, good. So my immediate thought was that either someone brought their own weapon or used mine. Why'd you hand over your own gun? A good question.
We can rule it any outside interference.
How can you be sure?
No one entered the house that night. Only people in the house are those that you're aware of already.
A chill ran down my spine. I looked to Benson. We can't verify that unless we put blind faith into him.
All I can tell you is that over my lifetime, those you might think would show up don't. Until well after we're past that point.
But that would mean the person that did it was either, well, I'll pay him no mind, Dave. He seemed thoughtful as he pieced together what he wanted to say next, a frown forming. Oswin's revolver in my left hand is problematic as I'm right-handed. You wouldn't have just swapped hands? And why would I do that? For fun? I treat my gunplay quite seriously. I might be past my prime, but I still have my muscle memory should the situation arise. Granted, my headspace needs to be right for it. So, why was it in your left hand? Planted most likely by the assailant. Don't think I follow. You're saying someone showed up, took your gun while you're cleaning Oswin, shot you, then planted Oswin's gun in your hand for what reason? Potentially to make it look like a suicide, although clumsy at best, it seems. Thanatos, anything to add?
What are you asking me for?
You probably know the scene better than I remember, plus you likely know who did it too.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Then who? I looked across at Benson, where he seemed to be staring into space, stiff as a board. Something had dawned on him, and the corners of his mouth were pulled back, tense. Benson? It's nothing.
That's a lie.
Quiet, you. What? Huh? We were making good progress, I thought. The next words out of Benson's mouth were almost a croak. Recovered soon after. Unfortunately not fast enough for me to not notice. Very good progress. What did I miss?
Benson's figured it out.
Wait, really? That's great. No, it's really not. Because? Forgive me, but I can't disclose who committed the deed. From what we know, I can only think of one person, but interrogating them would get us nowhere. Why?
Because it never happened. What are they going to confess to?
But that... This will be something I need to discuss with them at a later date. Opening Thanatos and Benson quickly, the three of us quiet. Can I be honest? Of course. I'm really tired of this whole... Everyone having big realizations without telling me anything. You do it, Oswin does it, Thanatos has done it too.
Have not.
You have. You might not register it as it, but it's annoying that people seem to be in on some secret and I'm legitimately trying to figure things out and help, but people just don't want to share. Then what would you have me do? Tell me who it is. Then at least there'd be a lead or something to figure out what's going on. If we can't trust Thanatos, but we can sometimes, but then what we can put faith in what you say, where does that leave us? It leaves us in a very difficult position, Dave. Then how do we fix it? Perhaps it's better if I frame it this way. Do you know to whom I am most loyal? Oswin, obviously, right? Yes and no. More specifically, I give my loyalty to the Hammond family in order of seniority. Okay. Of the current members of the family, Oswin is the one that sits as the family's head, as it were. But should another family member be present, well, that may change.
Friends are into you anymore, in other words.
Sure, okay, but how does that affect what we're talking about now? Because should Oswin want something kept quiet and request that of me, to a fault I will obey. But why? What if they go after Oswin next? What if they come for someone else? You hold on to who you think it is just puts all of us at risk, doesn't it? I respected you're upset about my decision, but I assure you that I'm not budging. But the others? Benson put up a hand, shaking his head. To unknown assailants I'll be little help anyway. In this instance, the best I can do is bring it up with Oswin, and you are more than welcome to do the same. I groaned, rubbing my face. Okay, fine, I get it. Leaning on the table, I looked down at the floor where Benson was dead in my vision. So Oswin knows who it is? I would assume it's a fairly good idea, yes, but certainty in these times isn't assured. Okay.
Oi!
What?
Hey, don't think it's getting that to do with me. I have good news.
What's the good news?
You got a few days of breathing room at least.
Before another vault vision. Thanatos looked towards Benson, then back to me.
Potentially, but worry about it later. You need a break.
No, just tell me now. May as well.
No, take a break. I'll see you later. Oswin might want to chat later, so I'll be in the lab to listen in.
In your cage?
What'd you take me for?
He scurried off after that towards the foyer and then out of sight. I'm sorry, Dave. Huh? I'm not as spry as I once was. Were things different? Well... I nodded slowly. Has keeping watch been tolling on you? Truthfully, yes. I wish to return to a regular sleeping schedule soon. But that would mean, assuming we wish for surveillance around the clock, others will need to stay up, among other things. Once more I nodded and kicked the floor lightly. I'll try and bring it up with the others. See what we can do about it starting tonight. Thank you. What are you intending on doing now? After the chat at breakfast, I might go and see how everyone else is holding up. Very well. I wish you the best of luck. Leaving the dining room, I rubbed my head, wondering where the others ended up after everything that went down. If I was honest with myself, I felt a bit lost and wouldn't mind talking things out with someone else. Looking around, I wondered where Thanatos had run off to. It seemed it had been downstairs. The others, however, could be anywhere. I wandered around the house for a bit, sticking to the floor as on before deciding to head upstairs and see if anything interesting was happening up there. I approached the rec room and stuck my head in, seeing Ty and Hoss sitting on beanbags quietly chatting. Hoss had his face in his hands and Tyson seemed unsure what to really be doing. You guys okay? Ty looked up and gestured me to come over before turning back to Hoss.
Oh, we're good, yeah.
You sure?
Just working through that news, yeah? Well, Hoss is anyway.
Oh, about, yeah, about that. Nodding slowly, I took a spot on the floor and rested my hands in my pockets, not really sure what to say or do.
How you holding up about it?
Me, well, fine, I guess. Well, I guess it's less fine and more just in shock, or not really know if it's real still. That's where I'm at. I get that it's a thing, whereas delivery needs some work.
Also, he meant to tell us that.
I don't know, but what are we meant to do with that information? Then he turned to me with a frown, looking me over. And you actually promised what he asked? I had to.
Don't think he needed to do shit, but if that's all he's asking, then hell, I'll make that promise too.
Do you understand what he's asking of us, right? Doesn't matter if it makes the most sense, it's messed up. Imagine if it was Dave asking that of you. Ty's ears immediately drooped and he slumped, keeping to himself. So he's right, worst case scenario? It saves us the decision-making process, but I sure as hell don't feel good about it. What would the alternative be?
I mean, there is one, is there? Shit hits the fan and we just deal with it. Well, I guess we know what we're doing already.
Yeah, I guess so. I shuffled close to the Ty and leaned against him, and then he leaned against me back. Do you think he's suffering? Oh, hard to say. I imagine it wasn't easy to come out and tell us that he's dying, given that he's kept it from us this long.
Feels a little strange to bring it up now, doesn't it?
If not now, when? Well, I imagine if his condition worsened suddenly, that might cause us more alarm if we knew what to expect, right?
Or we just didn't wake up one morning.
Do you? Too real.
It's true, though. One day he might just go to bed and that's it.
That sounds really sad. We just wouldn't know that when we're saying goodnight it'll be the last thing, right? Well, I guess that's just how that goes, right? Anything you say to someone could be the last thing you say to them ever. Ty pulled back, looking me over with a stern look, focusing on me and looking me over so I couldn't keep eye contact. What's wrong?
Oh, just looking.
Do you? Just say it.
Oh, shut up.
Say what?
Just in case, yeah? I love you. You know that, right?
You big softy. Are you going to tell me that you love me next too?
No.
Ouch. What if I say please?
Oh, still no.
Thanks, Ty. I love you too. See? There you go. Happy family. Ty rolled his eyes and patted me on the head in the same motion, sitting back in his beanbag. So you're feeling better at least now, Hoss? It's going to take some getting used to. It's sour the dribble more knowing what's around the corner for a friend is all.
Yeah. So what? We're meant to worry about it until it happens, or what?
Maybe not worry about it, but I just keep it in mind. And then when it happens, we'd be sad. That's overly simplistic.
Like there's an alternative.
It's untreatable, right? So that's that. That's it. We can't do anything about it. Oh, the defeatist of you, Dave, but you got a point. All we can do is just make sure he's comfortable.
At the same time, we have to deal with the guys in the woods. Are they even still out there?
Not worth the risk, is it?
Well, I guess not. If the road is fucked, then I'll get off the mountain either.
Unless there's another way out.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Nodding slowly, I leaned back and Tyson got to head over to the TV. What are you doing?
Oh, I want to watch anime.
Yeah, sure. You staying for some anime, Dave? I think I'll see where the others went. Orlando seemed pretty shaken up about it all, and if he's not here, then, well... Alright, don't know where he went, just ran off before I did. We headed upstairs when he left, if that helps. So he's in the mansion at least. Thanks. I'll see you guys later.
If you need us, we'll be here.
With a nod, I set off, leaving them their anime. Seemed at least for the time being they're holding things together. That just made me wonder how Orlando was doing without someone to talk him through things. When I found him, he's sitting by the window, or half lounging by the window looking out into the world beyond. Hey, Orlando, you doing okay? His eyes were still wet, but he wasn't actively sobbing anymore. He turned to look at me before looking out the window again, gesturing for me to come closer and give him a hug. I didn't think anything was getting any worse, but then... Then Roswell gave us the news, huh? Yeah. He wrapped his arms around me and I joined him in looking out the window. It's so sad. He's been hiding for so long. I don't want to believe it's real. But it is though, right? He couldn't go joking about something like this. Not now, especially. Is it bad that I think I'd have rather not known at all? What if something happened? Yeah, that's true. You wonder what happens now? A little. It's not like we're doctors either. Well, Oswin kind of was. He's just said the same thing Roswell told us. Yeah. He breathed out and I could see the small wisps of smoke trailing out his nose. It's really upsetting you, huh? Like, I don't think I've ever seen you troubled like this before. It's just something new, right? Something that I just don't know how I'm meant to feel, so I'm kind of just defaulting to sad. Smoke doesn't only mean sad. It only means you're angry or frustrated. I guess frustrated is one way to think about it. What part of it are you frustrated about? It's like everything that's happened so far feels so... How can I put this? He waved his hands in the air trying to piece together his thoughts, though it took me pulling his hands back in to get words rather than sounds. This was the game that'd be a happy ending. An ending where we all return home safe and happy. This is just... Life can't be this cruel, can it? That no matter how else things may turn out, Roswell dies? You played games like that before, right? That's not the end of the story, though. There's always more, or a new game plus, or some hidden thing that gets you everything nice and happy at the end. But all the games are like that, Orlando. And sometimes life is just like that. He nodded slowly and put an arm around my shoulders. Next time we're all going to be together, it's going to be awkward, I think. Even if it is dinner. Yeah, dinner's going to be just interesting all around. What if Thanatos is going to be joining us too? Speaking of, you knew and yet you still let me trap him like that? I wasn't meant to tell anyone. Well, that's the impression I got anyway. I just got caught up on everything that happened. No more secrets from the group, Dave. Yeah, I know. The next bit is going to be hard enough. Hope it's not too hard, though. Hey, listen, I'm sorry for being a bit all over the place right now. I appreciate you checking in on me. I gave him another hug, but he shook his head and went back to looking out the window. I might just need some time to process it. See if I can think of something, but maybe I want to try this solo for a bit. Oh, yeah, sure, okay. Sorry. No, it's fine. I mean, I checked in on Hoss and Tyson already, now you. So maybe just go find Sal or Dean and just, I don't know, check in. He nodded slowly and I backed away, lingering by the doorway just to watch him look out the window before moving on. I checked the other rooms quickly before heading back downstairs to look for anyone else. The house was quiet, with everyone split up and made sense. Not that I liked it, but I used it as an incentive to find someone else quicker. Sal and Dean were sitting on the steps out front, not really saying anything and just watching the world go by. Hey guys. They turned around before gesturing me closer. I sat next to Sal where there was space. How are you holding up? Me? I'm doing alright. Just finished talking to Orlando, Hoss and Ty about it all. Ah, yes. What about you two? It's a lot. We're mostly just letting it sink in. That's pretty much it, yeah. Were you both doing okay? Dean looked at Sal and rolled his shoulders, thinking of his answer. I looked between the two of us and then out the lawn stretching out in front of us. I could see his snout twitch as he thought the words over, starting slow. I appreciate how direct he was about it. I appreciate the difficulty that would have come from having to tell us that too. Did he have to tell us though? I believe that is the correct phrasing. All things considered anyway. Of those at the table though, you're the only one who readily promised what he was asking, Dave. He's my friend and asked me to promise. What else was I meant to do? It's not as if I feel like talking to the others has helped you process things, hasn't it? A little. It's not an easy thing to promise, though. Why's that? Do you remember when you were foraging for mushrooms and he asked me something? Something I felt wasn't my place to say. Yeah? Well, I've known since then. He confided in me that long ago what was happening, made me promise to look out for you in case Tyson did anything. Or if he was sad, that I'd at least keep an eye out. You didn't say anything to me. He said not to tell. Besides, it's his news to share anyway. That's true. But that would explain why he didn't seem all that surprised at breakfast. I nodded slowly, thinking it over before standing up. Well, that's reassuring that you're both doing okay, compared to the others at least. Oh, don't get me wrong. It's still a lot to take in, but I think we're doing okay. Alright, we'll just have to take it as it comes. Has anyone spoken to Roswell yet? Don't know, he left a little bit after you two left, and that left me with Thanatos and Benson. And Oswin? He took Roswell to go take his mind off things given everyone else left. Oh, now I feel a little bad. Why? Oh, I concur. It seems more appropriate that a family friend would help you, especially someone who has a background in medicine. Well, as opposed to one of his normal friends. All his normal friends left, right? I'll go check in. I've been making the rounds, so I may as well continue, right? Well, if you're sure. You're welcome to come too if you want. Oh, I think we're heading for a big group discussion the next time we're together. At least, maybe reset everything. So you're saying you can wait until then? Well, so long as someone makes sure Roswell is okay, I don't think it matters if it's one person or multiple. Or I'm weighing up the possibility that everyone swamping him may do more harm than good. I thought everyone coming at once might have been better, like a big group hug sort of moment. Well, does he like being the centre of attention? For someone that likes doing magic tricks, I'd say so, yeah. Well, I'm with Dave. We should go find him. Alright. But if he shows signs of being uncomfortable, we should take that as our cue to leave. The three of us headed back inside, running into Orlando wandering down the stairs. Hey, Orlando, have you seen Roswell? No. We're going to go find him. Want to come along? Sure. What about Hoss and Tyson?
All about us.
They'd started wandering down the stairs too, coming to a stop, so we were standing in a loose circle in front of the stairs. Have either you two seen Roswell?
We're trying to watch anime, couldn't get into it. Figured we'd come downstairs, get some air, but no Roswell.
We were going to go find him. Want to come? Sure. Probably better we go find him rather than just... sticking around here? Question is, where is he?
What a good question that is.
All of us turned to look to the hallway leading towards the basement, and sure enough, standing on the floor was a familiar face from breakfast.
You looking at this little boy? Well, I just so happen to know where he is.
Where?
He's safe.
Well, where in the mansion?
Who was anything about the mansion? You just said he's safe.
So he's outside? Why would he go outside? The pool, maybe? The greenhouse? Or the hedge maze?
Question is, why do you want to know?
We just want to make sure he's okay.
I'm sure you do, Junior. What about the others?
What do you mean?
You all seem pretty eager to leave. What changed?
People change, Thanatos. Unless... Does this always happen this way?
Well, patterns emerge, but no, it doesn't always happen this way.
I don't mean to be rude, but can you help us?
As polite as ever. Well, that's something that doesn't change. But yes, I can help.
He wandered over to Dean and started to scramble up the leg of his pants, up his front settling on his shoulder.
He's currently speaking with Oswin in his lab.
Great, let's go.
Let's take the passage through the basement.
I led the way down to the basement, then over the wall where the passage was. Without thinking, I opened it up, gesturing for the others to step inside. When no one did, Thanatos tugged on Dean's ear until he was coerced into entering first.
You're playing your best today, Roswell.
Or maybe.
A check.
You're not the only one playing sloppily. We followed the voices through the dark, my hand occasionally touching the wall to know I was still walking straight. Oh, checkmate. Oswin's annoyed grumbles quickly turned into loud laughter, the kind of rumbling laughter that almost sounded foreign. Strange in that the most I'd heard so far was an amused chuckle. As I pushed the door to the lab open, Oswin's laughter stopped dead, and the two people we expected to see were sitting there in a daze. Hey.
Dave? And the whole bloody entourage.
We just wanted to make sure Roswell was okay, that's all.
I see.
I don't understand. I'm fine. Orlando stepped forward, playing with his hands.
I'm sorry I ran out like that. Is it really happening that you're dying?
Oh yeah, it's happening.
I thought I made it clear at breakfast. What Roswell has is untreatable. There's nothing that can be done.
It's really nothing. But Oswin, what about, He looked furious, jaw clenched. I got the impression I was on the way to saying something I shouldn't be.
You have something in mind, Dave?
No, not really. Looking around the room, I saw the various beakers and tubes of things. The cabinet held specimens that Oswin had said was dangerous and who knows what else. So maybe Oswin could make something, medicine or, I don't know. I don't think Oswin is some great alchemist, Dave. No offence.
None taken.
But I'm okay, really. It comes and goes in waves, but I promise I'm fine. It's sad, sure, but it's what I've known long enough that I don't know anything else. I'd just rather spend what time I do have with friends, is all. But you're down here playing chess with some old guy? Oz grunted and backed off, leaving to go in the adjoining room without another word. Oz stepped up with Tyson shuffling along in his wake. You'd rather spend time with him than us? Well, I simply needed time to adjust given... Well, you did walk out like the others.
I could have stayed with Dave, though.
Well, good point. Well, I guess just like the rest of you, I needed some time to myself too. Time to yourself? With Oswin? Well, you know what I mean. Well, we can go do something together now. We have to induct Tyson at some point anyway.
I'm sorry, what?
Oz turned sharply and patted him lightly on the cheek. Don't worry about it. His fur bristled, but he didn't say anything, grumbling something incoherent under his breath instead. Well, I bet you don't even have a shirt prepared. I'll think of something until we can get an official one.
Dave, help?
I don't think I can.
Oh, shit.
Dean sat Thanatos down on the desk and watched as he wandered over the chessboard, picking up a stray piece and wandering off with it. Well, if you say you're okay, that's all that matters. If peace of mind is what you're after with your request, then I second Dave's promise. No matter the two of us, well, I guess three including Dave. I can't offer much aside from that, but hopefully the worst case scenario doesn't come to pass. Hopefully it doesn't, but who knows what the next week will bring. Nodding slowly, I watched as Hoss and Orlando swarmed Roswell again. Soon after by Sal, I was assuming they were planning some group activity, no doubt. In the corner of my eye, I noticed Oswin watching from the other room. Standing in the dark, and it was hard to make out exactly what his expression was. When he noticed me looking, he turned away again. Wandering over the other room, I stuck my head in to see what Oswin was doing in the dark. There were no lights on compared to the lab. Though the main room where everything else was seemed to be just lit by the various monitors and small light sources that littered the room. Oswin? I kept my voice down, shooting a look over my shoulder to see if anyone noticed me off to the side and caught Thanatos standing there watching. He leaned on the chess piece he'd snagged before and shot me that smug grin he liked to use before gesturing me to go inside. Once your friends leave, we can speak. His voice was as low as mine, but there was something else in his tone. Not sadness, maybe worry? It was hard to place, but it's clear that he wasn't wanting to talk immediately about whatever it was he'd called me for yesterday. He guided me out of the room and cleared his throat, drawing everyone's attention. I'm glad you had your reunion, but this room isn't one I typically let guests into. If you plan on discussing things further, might you do so elsewhere? There were mumbled apologies while people started to move, Roswell seemingly leading the way forward. Two things before you leave. First, I'm going to be borrowing Dave for a little bit. I'll send him upstairs when we're done. Second, well played, Roswell. With a small smile, Roswell continued to lead the others out and close the door to the lab behind them, leaving just me and Oswin, with Thanatos still on the desk. I thought they'd never leave. Well, that's a lie, and you know it. Why do I pretend to not know every outcome, don't I? Oswin, what do you want to talk about? All right, I want to talk to you about the next few days, if you don't mind. In addition to your conclusions, your investigations thus far. Why? He gestured to the available chair that Roswell seemed to be sitting in, and I took it. In simple terms, I want to cross-check what I know against what you do. You know stuff? I've come to my conclusions, yes. I admit my reasoning is flawed. Well, what do you want to know first? Do you have a prime suspect of what's been happening? A modus operandi? Anything that links these events together? Not really. What of last night? Well, I followed it by talking to Thanatos and finding, would we call it a loophole? Sure, a loophole works. I just had to keep Tyson out of his room for the night, that's all. Well, it's true, my master didn't factor in a loophole like this happening. Which we're no closer to figuring out either. That's not entirely true. What makes you say that? Assuming Thanatos was telling the truth at breakfast, then you can at least narrow down some of the suspects, or at the very least start forming a picture. Almost sounds like you figured it out. I have my guesses, yes. And those guesses are? If I tell you, do you promise not to be defensive? You're about to point the finger at one of my friends. I've narrowed down the possibilities to, well, two. Two that you might want to consider anyway. Oh, this'll be good. The first is Hoss. He's been here before, knows his way around, and quite frankly doesn't play with an open hand in the way that someone like Orlando does. We can rule out Hoss. Why, because he's your friend? I suppose we can treat his failed attempt to fix an ECM as evidence of that, though why Thanatos would actively choose Hoss as a master leads me to believe it's the least likely of the two options. And the other being? You. I cracked a smirk when he said it, assuming he was joking. When his expression didn't change, I frowned. It's not very funny. I didn't mean for it to come across as a joke. Just consider what facts we have to go off of. I looked at Thanatos, who was still smiling to himself, watching us both carefully. By virtue of your father, we know you're connected to the vault, evidenced by the visions. Given Thanatos is the vault, the connection established there is, well, obvious. I only met Thanatos the day I met you in the lab a little over a week ago. There's more evidence, circumstantial, but it's there. Thanatos sought out you and converses, to my knowledge mostly with you. He breaks out of his cage to go discuss matters with you, outside one instance with Dean, but that seems more like an outlier. Looked me over, quirking a brow. What I've heard, I shouldn't need to explain the line drawn between you and Dean, do I? No, I guess not. However, there's a big problem with this accusation which bugs me. What's that? If you were his master, it would mean his allegiance was set to you the day you arrived. The next first few days you conspired with him to make some elaborate plan and got to work immediately. I didn't. I'd even have a little while to go around stopping these things from happening. Indeed, a question I would pose to Thanatos. Hey, what about me? You remember every iteration of your existence, including the first time you met your master, correct? What of it? What was your first meeting like? That very first meeting?
Why do you want to know?
Answer the question.
No.
Am I missing something?
Also wants to know what changes from loop to loop when I meet a master each time. This is going to reveal some great secret I've been hiding, but he's wrong.
Well, that sucks.
Well, my sister should get you to talk. What's the Florentia going to do about it? That's not what you called her, is it? Oh, shut up.
Osmond picked up a beaker and realised what he's doing before he'd thrown it at Thanatos. He set it back down gently, breathing out slowly. You okay?
I'm stressed trying to figure this out. It shouldn't be this hard. It's like playing chess against someone who's already played the same game many times over.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Sorry, not to you, but to Thanatos.
What?
What have your master wanted to accomplish? The, saving just one person thing?
What about it?
They haven't succeeded once yet, have they?
I don't know.
You don't know or you won't say?
What I mean is, my memory's incomplete. I don't know.
How can you not know?
You said something to me once, Julia. Something that most times through I brushed off, but this is something that could still be possible.
What did you say to him that had him at this much of a loss?
The vault cannot show your own death. You cannot pass on memories if you do not survive.
Oh yeah, I think I remember asking that.
If I never see myself die, how do I know? Short answer is that I don't.
Which would mean we're in a loop of your failing by trying the same thing over and over, yes?
Not exactly. It means I'm chalking out to a fail and continuing on. If I already succeeded once, I wouldn't know.
But where does that leave you, as far as trying things?
How do you understand the problem? Are you asking in a sense of how does he know what works and what doesn't?
Kinda.
Well, you're not listening, I don't know.
Why did you name him Thanatos anyway?
I didn't.
What do you mean? I thought... Wait, so you made him right? The actual body and like... I gestured a loss to Thanatos, not really sure of myself anymore.
I'll tell you the trouble. My master named me. Or sort of.
What do you mean, sort of?
From second iteration onwards, I've gone by Thanatos. So I introduced myself as when I woke up, rejecting the original name in favour of, well, this.
What was the original name then? He looked to Oswin and back to me, where he could reply. Oswin cut him off.
Hypnos.
I frowned, sitting back in my chair.
I don't go by that anymore.
So Oswin named you originally, way back at the beginning?
Florentia did, actually. I was going to name him Algernon. But a junior goes and asks, Oswin was just being clever. Don't leave a really smart lab rat in the story.
Oh, thanks. Is it a nice story?
The rat ends up dying.
Oh.
As does his master, although much later.
I don't think I like this story.
It's not exactly normal reading material, although the book is in the library should you wish to go read it. Not that it'll offer you much help here.
Sure, okay. Oswin rubbed his head, breathing through his nose.
How many days do we have?
Until?
Our judgment day.
Who's been judged?
Don't worry about it for now. Thanatos, I want a day. 6 days at this rate.
6, you're sure?
It could vary by 1 or 2 depending on what my master does next, as this last attempt failed. Things could be expedited or held off. I won't know until later.
Do you know what's going to happen sooner than that? Is there anything we can do to prepare?
I'll be careful taking anything he says at face value, Dave. Oswin, I need a favour.
What's a favour?
Agreed. What could you possibly want of me? Forbid Benson from firing his gun tomorrow. Ready to do so? Well, I'll leave it up to you to decide which way to go.
What's going to happen tomorrow?
That wasn't part of the favour. Keep Benson from firing his gun and things will be alright.
Alright for who?
Everyone, of course.
Oswald, was that all you wanted to talk to me about?
I believe so. Why?
Because there was something Benson said I wanted to ask you about.
Go on.
You said that you suspected either Hoss or myself to be the one behind everything. That you only suspected us, right?
I did. Why?
Benson seems convinced he knew who tried to kill him. More than that, you also know, but told him not to tell anyone who he thought it was.
Oh, now this is interesting.
Oh, what makes you believe he's telling you the truth? Because he has no reason to lie, right? If I ask you and you deny tell him such a thing, he's clearly outed as lying. Doesn't make any sense because it doesn't gain anything from lying if I can easily check.
Sound logic so far.
So then I just go back to Benson and say, he'd say you're lying, which flies in the face of what he said before about loyal to a fault to the Hammond family.
He said that?
Yeah. Oswin rubbed his chin while looking to Thanatos, still as pleased with himself as one which started this new topic.
I think you're more trapped than I normally am.
Well, it was me. I did it. Why?
Do I need a reason?
Benson's your family. You wouldn't just try and kill him once then give up, or even thank me for it afterwards and agree to meet face to face afterwards either.
A fair point.
What is it you meant to say? Check?
Oh, so we're playing a game, are we?
He shook his head, chuckling.
Then allow me to make my move next. Consider everything you've described. What motive could I possibly have to kill Benson, you say? Well, it's not that complicated.
Go on.
Killing Benson is just more fair. In truth, I want you all off my mountain. If a murder were to occur, you'd be forced to leave. I'm not about to add another child to my list, extending that as far as young adults.
He picked up a bit of lint on his coat, regarding it before flicking it aside.
That's you, on the other hand, boy. What better way than cover my tracks with science, some elaborate story about the intricacies of time travel, including a talking rat?
You ate it up hook, line, sinker. But you're lying. The words were barely out of my mouth for a sharp pain ran through my head and I slumped over the desk. Huh?
Yeah, I'll tell him, it's fine.
Where am I, Ty?
Oh, good, you're awake.
Awake? Huh?
You're spacing out again.
Ty, what's... The sound of a screeching car and the feeling of Ty pushing me to the ground took me over, for the rapid sounds of gunfire rang out, hit me hard as things snapped into black again.
Into the line!
What? No!
Don't you dare, Jack!
Orlando had appeared suddenly, tackling the rabbit at the ground, was stabbed in the stomach as he reared back his head, embers crackling.
No, please, what's...
I came to, breathing hard. I was in the lab again, wondering what was happening, but my eyes settled on a passed-out Oswin being prodded by Thanatos. What?
You're awake, good.
You did that?
Not the first time that trigger's come in handy.
But I saw things. I saw things that... No passwords, and what did...
Oh yeah, I figured I'd just hit you with the frequency.
Then what happened to Oswin?
You're not the only one programmed in, remember?
Why? Why did you do that?
Let's call it leveling the playing field. No.
I started to Oswin, who was just starting to stir. Looked as pained as I felt, going through what visions I'd seen moments before.
No.
I gave Thanatos a look for reaching out for Oswin's hand, jolted back as Oswin quickly rose, almost falling out of his chair as he got to his feet.
Reggie!
His eyes were wild, gaze darted around the room in alarm, for he realised where he was. When his eyes found mine, there was a look of defeat on his face, but he said nothing, instead picking up his chair and sitting back down and waited for me to speak first. You saw something too, didn't you?
I saw my brother die in the hospital, yes. Different to how it happened, but going through it again was hard.
I don't think you tried to kill Benson. You wanted to save two people. Thanatos' master only wants to save one. You were devastated when, He put a hand up, shaking his head.
It's all right, Dave. You win.
Checkmate?
Indeed.
So...
I made no effort to kill Benson. The very thought was terrifying when I was alerted to it happening, rather that it could have happened.
So what did you do?
I did some digging, and my conclusions are... What I mean to say is that... This part never gets old. Seen Oswin out of words.
You're not going to tell me, are you?
I still haven't got a reason why the attempt was made or
considered. Trying to solve potential mergers across dimensional iterations is difficult when there's no opportunity or even evidence to go off of. No premeditation either, as far as I can tell.
He shook his head, stroking his beard.
No, I'm not going to tell you. Not yet. Not when I need all of you alive.
You think it'd spark a fight?
I can say for certainty that it was one of your friends, Dave. Not you, but I assure you that someone that arrived with you on that bus wanted Benson dead for reasons I do not know. But I will find out.
He stood up, dusting himself off.
I will do my best to continue to hide who I believe it is until there's some solid evidence, however. I've instructed Benson to be careful in the meantime as well. What am I meant to do now?
Just said one of my friends is a murderer.
And I'm sorry for that, but that is the truth. If you find it easier, assume I'm lying.
I stood slowly, head down and glancing across at Thanatos. He's not lying, is he?
What does it matter? You're already decided.
Nodding, I looked back at Oswin, the corners of my mouth pulled back in a grimace. Was there anything else?
I don't believe so. Should anything else come up, I'll seek you out.
Okay.
I suggest joining the others. Should they ask what I wanted with you, I'd suggest to tell them...
False experimentation.
Pardon?
That's the result that yields the best outcome of what I've seen. Unless you want to run the risk of letting Junior here come up with his own lie.
No, I can go with that. It's true enough after... you know, what you did.
Dave, we'll get to the bottom of what's happening, I promise. Yeah, well, hopefully that happens sooner rather than later.
I left the lab and headed down the corridor back out into the basement. The others had already moved on, as expected, and I followed their voices upstairs where they seemed to be gathered.
Oh, we're not starting until Dave gets back.
Sorry, I'm here. When I'd seen everyone had set up in front of the screen on beanbags, mounds of snacks piled around, I jogged on over and dropped into an available seat. No one seemed to question where I'd been or what Oswin wanted, all in favour of watching Hoss torment Tyson.
Now that we're ready, it's time to get this underway.
What the fuck are we doing?
You, my dear friend, are going to be inducted into one of the most illustrious, exclusive groups known this side of the world.
Oh, that all?
That all, he asks. Gentlemen, this guy doesn't know how lucky he is.
You're messing with you, right? He's messing with me.
I think I know what this is about. You'll be fine.
Okay, well, what do I have to do?
A dance?
What?
Oh, are you starting a band?
No, nothing like that. Well, actually, that might not be a bad idea.
Hurry up, Hoss.
Okay, fine. Everyone here knows Tyson. Everyone here has had some history with Tyson, even if it's just on this trip, good or bad.
No shit.
In light of what I knew of Tyson, I admit he was very little for this. I reached out and it turns out he's a pretty swell guy. A guy that I'm proud to say is probably my best friend.
Ouch.
You can't be offended, you have Dave.
What about me?
You also have Dave.
Do I have Dave too?
No, you have Dean, right?
Well, I want to be friends with Tyson too.
I looked around the group and it seemed everyone had synced up on tormenting Hoss. How everyone was wearing a slight smile of their own. The point is, I get the impression the big dog here hasn't been included in a bunch of stuff, so I'm forcing him to be a member of the anime club.
What?
You know, that thing from high school I told you about.
But I dropped out.
Well, doesn't mean you can't still join.
Good that you graduated, dude. All 4 of you did.
You want in or not?
No.
Dave, you ask him, he won't say no to you. It'll be fun?
Oh, pass.
Did you tell him about the shirt? Ah, yes, as a joining bonus, you get a shirt made by yours truly.
I have shirts already.
I can make yours orange if you want.
I watched his tired gaze narrow just a little, ears twitching as he thought it over.
Just think, Ty, orange.
Yeah, I heard him.
Not that I have one here that I can throw together, but I can owe you an orange one when we get back home.
Unless I want the shirt, I'm not saying that I do, just if I did. What do I have to do?
A dance.
I don't dance.
Oh, this is going to be even better.
Can it be any dance? Well, if dancing's all it takes, maybe I should dance. I'd learn a small formal thing for high school. Probably fake line dancing if I had to.
Sorry, Dean. You don't like anime, remember?
There'll always be the league bowling shirts instead, Dean. Don't worry.
League what now?
Tyson, focus. They're dancing. Ty rolled his shoulders and sighed, looking at everyone but Hoss before settling on me.
Did you have to do it?
Oh yeah, it was awful. It means awful fun, don't you, Dave? Sure.
So you're asking me to get fooled of myself for a shirt?
An orange shirt. Mind if I pick? You have something in mind?
No chance I can just do an easy one, huh?
Oh no, we're making this as bad as we can. The floor is yours then.
Hey Dave, pass the chips.
What proceeded was Tyson groaned as Orlando picked something of a classic, right down to the sailor uniforms and the upbeat music. His jaw went slack and eyes went wide as he watched the dance he was expected to perform, occasionally shooting sideward glances to Hoss, who was bopping along with the music and doing some of the moves. Sal and Dean were chuckling to themselves. Orlando and Roswell were seeing if they remembered the dance too. I sat back trying to make sure to remember this, if only to bring it up to Tyson later as any little brother would. When the first viewing was over, Hoss nudged Ty and said he wanted to see one genuine attempt before they stopped. Otherwise they're just going to keep going until they got it. You got this. It was cringy, poorly choreographed, and ended up with Roswell and Orlando bumping into each other more than once, threatening to trip Tyson up even without trying. But it was fun. Even they had to go a few times before Tyson seemed to know what was going on. Even Sal got up and gave it a shot.
Okay, that good enough? I earned the shirt yet?
He was out of breath, Orlando and Roswell already having tagged out and recovered on their beanbags just as much so. What's up?
A shirt, am I in or what?
Oh, right. Yeah, you can join. You're in about 5 attempts back, but I figured to see how long it took you to throw in the towel. Tyson's eyes bulged, and he seemed to be torn between catching his breath and making a grab at Hoss, or just giving up.
I'm going to sit down now.
He collapsed unceremoniously into a beanbag and groaned while Hoss seemed almost unfazed. Now the pre-entertainment has been given, and we have another small movie viewing.
Hold on, that's not what we're leading into anyway. Yes, Dean. Although I believe for the most part we needed something to bring us all together after this morning.
Sal, buddy, pal.
Oh, sorry. May I ask what we're watching?
It's going to be anime.
Oh, that's, May I make a request?
What did you have in mind?
Oh, I'd like to watch the one about the fantasy world in the closet, please. Oh, it's been a while since I saw that one. Well, I'd be interested.
But anime?
Well, as entertaining was to see Tyson dance, I've had my fill of anime for one day.
Tyson grumbled, but flipped Dean off half-heartedly while still face down in his beanbag.
Oh, how about we start with that one and then consider anime afterwards?
What about the one with the mouse that's like Tyson?
You think the mouse is like Tyson? Well, I thought the guy that becomes a dragon is more like Tyson.
Sal elbowed Dean in the side, cocking his head slightly.
Those are spoilers, Dean. Oh, right, sorry.
Alright, fine. We'll start there and consider what to watch next after it's done. Sound good with everyone? There were mixed grumbles all around, mostly enthusiastic, although tainted by exhaustion from those that had been dancing. They were relaxed with the movie, sharing the snacks around till they were all gone, and went straight into another while avoiding anime. Hoss sulked for all of a minute before he and Tyson started to have a quiet chat while the movie went on. Not they were loud, but it's nice just watching their expressions. Hoss and Tyson with relaxed smiles, Dean and Sal enamoured with the movie and keeping quiet, Orlando and Roswell passing the same empty bag of candy back and forth, forgetting it was empty until they reached into the bag. These were my friends, and they were happy. Hey, sleepyhead, wake up. Huh? We're heading down for dinner. We have to fall asleep at some point. I guess I was just that relaxed, huh? You look like you were sleeping peacefully. Almost because they're not waking you, but you couldn't just leave you here by yourself. No, of course. So everyone else is downstairs now? Yep, just went down so no one's been waiting on you. Orlando offered a hand and I took it. Stumbling as he helped me up. Snack food isn't much for lunch. I bet you're hungry. We went downstairs, Orlando headed into the kitchen. It's almost as if it were a routine at this point. The fact we'd said we'd take turns, basically forgotten. I honed into a particular spot at the table, taking my seat a little giddier than I otherwise would have been. With the help of a couple of others, Orlando brought the food out at the table in no time. We were soon in their feet and engaging in jovial conversation. Soon our bellies were full. For a moment I've forgotten all the stress of the past few days. Even that very morning, leaning back in my chair, I breathed and just let it wash over me. My eyes wandered over to Dean, who was calmly rising from his spot with a smile on his face. Half expected him to do a thing where he hit a spoon on your glass to get everyone's attention.
Everyone? I feel now is as good a time as any to come out and say this, but last night something wonderful happened.
I started chuckling under my breath, made worse when he gave me a wink before continuing.
Some of you are already aware, but I figured it'd be better to have everyone in the loop already.
I looked around the table and immediately found everyone staring at me, a mix between bored, expectant and knowing.
Well, Dave and I had dinner last night, and we're now going steady.
I flashed my friends a toothy smile, unsure what their reaction was going to be given the mixed expressions I was getting. They turned to one another, almost having a silent conversation with one another, for all at once looked to Dean.
Finally!
Dean looked like he'd been slapped across the face, blinking a few times before looking at everyone at the table.
Well.
I'd also like to take the chance to congratulate the happy new couple, and also claim my fair share of credit for putting on their brilliant night, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, well, just remember to take care of him, we're going to have problems.
Let them have this. It's a miracle they got to this point as it is.
Well, that's kind of mean.
Oh, I meant more than anything considered the odds were looking like you two would never make it official.
Well, that's disheartening.
We've gotten to get it eventually, right? I'm surprised that no one else tried to make a move on you in the time it took you two to work it out. I looked around the table and everyone's attention seemed to be elsewhere, presumably not wanting to be involved in the conversation as Orlando had taken it over.
So, what happens now? Do all that gay shit in front of us, now we just have to put up with it?
Well, I don't have to if it's going to make people feel uncomfortable, but I am going to exercise my right to dote on my boyfriend when I feel like it.
Like kisses and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it's limited to that, I don't think we'll have any problems.
Oh, and you two fucking in some random room, there's going to be issues.
Well, I promise to behave. Can't say the same for Dave, though.
Hey, I can behave.
Oh, good to know. Because I'm not sure if I can.
I'm with Tice. I don't want to walk on it either. Sal stood next, scratching his chin.
This might make guys' night a bit problematic.
Why? You're all guys, so that should be fine. I think you're missing the point, Roswell. I'm more interested in when guys' night was a thing.
It's what Dean and I do every week as a bonding activity.
Oh yeah? What's involved?
We go bowling.
Oh, how fun.
I have a potential solution, but we'll see.
What's the solution?
Well, I start inviting Tyson.
Why Tyson? I looked across the tide. He seemed just as confused, shrugging when he saw me looking at him.
You already have anime club. If Dean is spending time with his boyfriend, I feel Tyson would now like the company.
What am I, a chopped liver? I'm presumably hanging out with Orlando, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
I looked at Orlando, who seemed to be struggling to keep up with the conversation, but knew that he should be offended. Dean, meanwhile, was watching me with a warm smile on his face, gesturing towards the door with a motion of his head.
We can figure all this out later. For the time being, I think it's a good thing overall. Something nice to break up what's been happening of late.
I saw a wedding, but I'll take it.
Sure, could always do with nice things. Just don't let it go to your head, Dean. We still need to get off this mountain.
I could tell he wasn't paying attention completely. All Sal's comment was a roll of the eyes, with a smile never leaving his face. Instead, he got up and gestured for me to follow, making his way to the door.
Well, I'm going to turn in for the night. Thanks again for dinner, guys.
There he goes. Oh, just watch. Dave will be joining him soon. Is that all right? May I be excused? Why do you think it's going to stop you?
Is this what they mean by honeymoon period?
Seems like it.
Go on, Dave. I'll clear your plate this time.
Oh, thanks, Sal. I could hear Tyson scolding Sal for spoiling me, but I continued on, looking around for Dean.
Must be anything you weren't going to follow.
I'm used to just leaving the table like that, and leaving with someone else means stuff too.
Like what?
Well, bed stuff.
Got a taste and that's all you can think about? What about the other stuff?
Like what?
Like just sitting around and talking, cuddling up and passing the time. Doesn't always need to be sexual.
I know, I'm just looking forward to next time already, sorta.
Reckon you can handle it again? Thought things might still be tender?
Well, instinctively my tail curled itself close to me, remembering the night before. The feelings, the adrenaline rush, and then the new kind of soreness that followed.
I'm going to go upstairs and take a shower. Then I'm going to lay on my bed in my underwear until it's time for sleep. Would you like to join your bear friend for some quality cuddling?
Bear friend? Don't you mean boyfriend?
Do I? Does that mean the answer is a no?
No. I mean yes, just upstairs time. I took Dean by the hands. I rushed past, trying my best to drag him up the stairs with me. For the most part he let himself be led along. It was right to Dean's room, where once we were inside I found myself being picked up, thrown over his shoulder, him gently closing the door behind us with his foot. Hey! He laughed, wandering over the bed and half throwing, half placing me down on it, so I bounced.
I'm going to go have a shower. Make yourself comfortable. I shouldn't be too long.
Did you want company?
Did you want to join me?
Want? Kinda little. Should? Probably not.
Well, let's make the plan for tomorrow night then, assuming you're all healed up.
Oh, okay.
Well, I won't be long. You will come down one after I'm done too. Be right back.
With another wave he disappeared into the bathroom, and I waited in the small impression I made upon my landing on his bed. Looking around the room, I could still see him not bothered by one of his identical plaid shirts that seemed to dot the place, making him almost as messy as Ty was. Not that I wasn't used to it. It was why, without even thinking about it, I started bundling things up and giving each piece a quick sniff to decide if it was dirty or clean, condensing what was in many piles into just two.
Well, what are you doing?
Just organising. Going between me and the underwear in my hands, raising an eyebrow. I promise, it was just a little messy is all.
Well, thanks for cleaning up. You didn't have to, you know.
Sure, I had to do something while I waited. Or I guess I assumed I should make myself useful.
Well, I don't think you need to be useful, at least now. You're doing great as you are.
By doing nothing.
Remember, we're on vacation, aren't we?
That's true, yeah.
Now, why don't you go have a shower and join me in bed when you're done? I'm going to read a book while I wait to get a little tired.
My shower was about as quick as Dean's. The time I got out, Dean was sitting there reading his book. There was no talking, really. He just wrapped an arm around me while I cuddled into his chest and found myself getting drowsy sooner than I thought I would. Then I was asleep, cradled in the warmth of my boyfriend. To be continued. So, there's a lot in that episode. Now, speaking of there being a lot, this was, of course, Dean's Day 20. My plan was to now switch on to a couple of scenes from Tyson's Day 20, which will just even things out. But it has actually turned out to be a longer video than I thought, and I can feel my voice starting to give out a bit. So we'll do those couple of scenes from Tyson before we do a Day 21. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a common day or whether there'll be a lot of stuff for Ty and Dean to do, so we'll find out when we get there. But I'll definitely do those two scenes before we get to Day 21, so just everyone's up to date. But given what we've learned, I think it's quite a lot to go through again, and it won't have the impact. So just to let you know, I haven't forgotten about Tyson. We'll be doing that next time, and the next video potentially in the week, maybe not till the weekend, I'll see how things go, will be Liar. We're definitely going back to that. Things got a bit off with the schedule, but moving back towards what it should be now. That's it. Before my voice just decided to go out on me, and I really need to go make a cup of tea anyway. Thanks as always to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. And special mentions to Grizz, not only for being one of my top tier patrons, but also for doing Password. Burnt Toast, Kartek, Cobus Visser, Besuksu, Lark Huskerton, Bastian, Ryan Hall, Gunnar Muller, Tiger Cub, Ida Corval, Anubis Silverwind, Brandon Bradford, Dissonance, Bopot, Spiderling, Kopi, Sindri Dragowolf, Marcus, Evan King, and Monolith. Aye, top tier patrons. Don't forget the Patreon links for my channel and also for Password are all in the description. If you have any spare cash you want to spare, give it a go to Grizz. He does more work than I do on this. But that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed day 20. Until next time, bye for now.